They taught us history with silence. They erased warriors with textbooks. They reduced legends to footnotes. But today, we uncover the untold truth of a man so feared that invading armies stopped at his name. A man whose shadow guarded India's gates before borders even existed. A lion whose roar echoed from the Himalayas to the Khyber Pass. This is not just history. This is the story they never wanted you to hear. If you believe forgotten heroes deserve their voices back, subscribe now, because stories like this are disappearing faster than the truth itself. History often remembers conquerors by the lands they took, the crowns they wore, or the empires they ruled. But there are men whose greatness was so overwhelming that history itself trembled before writing their names. Sardar Hari Singh Nalwa was one such man. His story does not begin in palaces or end with a throne. It begins in blood, rises through fire, and stands forever at the gates of India, where invasion once seemed inevitable until one man made it impossible. Hari Singh Nalwa was born in 1791 in Gujranwala, during a time when the Indian subcontinent was fractured, vulnerable, and repeatedly invaded. His father, Gurdeel Singh, died when Hari Singh was still a child, leaving behind a family bound by grief and hardship. But history often sharpens its greatest weapons in suffering. The boy grew up hearing stories of Afghan invasions, villages burned, women enslaved, and borders violated without consequence. These were not distant tales. They were living memories. The soil itself seemed soaked with betrayal and blood. From an early age, Hari Singh showed signs that separated him from ordinary men. He was physically strong, mentally relentless, and emotionally hardened by loss. But what truly defined him was not brute strength, it was fearlessness bordering on destiny. The legend says that as a young boy, he once killed a tiger with his bare hands after it attacked him. Whether embellished or not, the story spread like wildfire, earning him the title, Nalwa, derived from Nawal, meaning tiger-like. At just 10 years old, Hari Singh entered the service of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, the founder of the Sikh Empire. This was not a ceremonial position. This was a battlefield empire, forged in iron and discipline. Ranjit Singh saw something in the boy that others did not. Perhaps he saw his future reflected in Hari Singh's eyes, a future that required men who did not retreat, did not negotiate fear, and did not bow. Hari Singh Nalwa rose rapidly through the ranks, not through favoritism but through undeniable competence. He fought with unmatched ferocity and tactical intelligence. While others charged blindly, Hari Singh studied terrain, enemy psychology, supply lines, and morale. War for him was not chaos, it was controlled devastation. He learned that victory was not just about killing, it was about breaking the enemy's will so completely that they never returned. The greatest threat facing India during this time came from the northwest. Afghan invaders had crossed the Khyber Pass for centuries, looting, conquering, and retreating with wealth and captives. The pass was not just a route, it was an open wound in the subcontinent's defenses. Generations had accepted invasion as fate. Hari Singh Nalwa refused to accept fate. He fought in countless campaigns, Kasur, Multan, Kashmir, Peshawar, each one expanding the Sikh Empire's reach and solidifying its defenses. But his true legacy was forged not in conquest, but in containment. He pushed the frontier of the Sikh Empire beyond the Indus River, something no Indian power had achieved in centuries. For the first time, the gates of India were guarded from the outside. Hari Singh Nalwa became the first non-Muslim governor of Peshawar, a region historically hostile to Indian rule. It was not diplomacy that kept the peace, it was his presence. His name alone was enough to silence rebellion. Afghan mothers would quiet their children by whispering, "Sleep, or Hari Singh will come." Fear became defense. Legend became law. But Hari Singh was not merely a warrior. He was an administrator, a builder, a strategist. He constructed forts across the frontier, Jamrud Fort being the most famous. These were not symbols, they were shields. Jamrud Fort stood like a clenched fist at the mouth of the Khyber Pass, declaring that invasions were no longer welcome. The British watched carefully. They did not fight Hari Singh directly, but they feared him. British intelligence reports described him as one of the most formidable generals in Asia. They understood that as long as Hari Singh Nalwa lived, British expansion from the west would face impossible resistance. His battles against the Afghans were brutal and decisive. Dost Muhammad Khan, the Afghan ruler, repeatedly attempted to reclaim Peshawar. Each time, Hari Singh pushed him back. The Afghans were seasoned fighters. hardened by mountains and war, yet they hesitated when facing Hari Singh. This hesitation was his greatest weapon. The final chapter of Hari Singh Nalwa's life reads like a myth carved in blood. In 1837, Afghan forces launched a massive assault on Jamrud Fort. Hari Singh, already gravely wounded, refused to retreat. He knew that if word of his injury spread, morale would collapse. He ordered his men to hide his wounds and continue fighting as if he were invincible. Legend says he tied himself to his horse to remain upright. Even in death, he stood guard. When he finally fell, his men concealed his body until the battle was won. The Afghans retreated, believing Hari Singh still commanded the defense. Even death could not defeat him. His sacrifice sealed the frontier. After his death, Afghan invasions into India effectively stopped. For the first time in centuries, the northwest border was secured not by treaties or bribes, but by fear, respect, and unbreakable resolve. And yet, modern history barely speaks his name. Textbooks reduce him to a paragraph. Popular narratives skip him entirely. His statues stand unnoticed. His legacy survives only in whispers, in folklore, in the silence of borders that never fell again. Why was he forgotten? Because Hari Singh Nalwa does not fit the comfortable version of history. He was not passive. He was not defeated. He did not beg for freedom, he enforced it. His story disrupts the idea that Indians were always conquered, always submissive, always waiting to be saved. Hari Singh Nalwa reminds us that resistance existed. That strength existed. That sovereignty was defended long before independence slogans were coined. He was not fighting for fame. He was not fighting for religion alone. He was fighting for dignity, for land, for future generations who would never know what it meant to hear foreign boots crossing their mountains. Today, the Khyber Pass stands quiet. Not because it lost its power, but because someone once made a promise there, and kept it with his life. Hari Singh Nalwa was not just a general. He was a wall, a warning, a legacy, and history has no right to forget him. If this story moved you, disturbed you, or awakened something inside you, do not stay silent. Share this story. Comment his name. Bring forgotten heroes back into the light. History only erases those we stop remembering. And warriors like Sardar Hari Singh Nalwa deserve to be remembered forever. Subscribe, support, and stand for truth, because the past decides the future.